What I would say is this isn't an award that's being given to you, it's an award that's well earned.
Now, is this a joint one between the two? Oh, good. Yeah, because they both deserve it.
I would describe them as a fun couple, a loving couple. They have a great family.
They got married after I got married, and my brother and one of my sisters got married. So it was neat to see him find what us kids had already found.
Anything that they do, it's kind of a fun-loving environment. They're having fun together, and they're kind of the life of the party.
Just hard work and an attitude of success that anything is possible.
Not only do they work hard, but it's all about family.
Community and family and business. What's most in their hearts.
You care, you're concerned, and you're committed. That's the way both of them are.
I would describe him as strongly passionate about his business and the community.
They want to succeed, but they're more interested in everyone succeeding. And so, rising tide raises all boats.
And I write the checks so they keep me busy. And that's just the monetary value that I'm seeing.
They give their time, they give monetarily, they help out.
They're very generous, they're caring, and you can always count on them.
We could call on them any time of day or night if we had a need, and they would be right there.
Knowing that you have people around you that give you the security of family, even if they are not family.
They give as much as they can when they can.
They have put their financial, they have put their time, they have put their energy on the line for people or causes that they would never even tell somebody about, because they're doing it for the reasons that are the right reasons.
They've probably done a lot of things I don't even know about, but just the obvious to me would be just the family business and how much they not only provide jobs to the community, but they just donate and give.
They're the epitome, I think, of just a good, wholesome, giving family.
Good evening and welcome. It's great to be in our beautiful Gallo Center for the Arts Foster Family Theater. My name is David Halverson. I'm going to serve as your MC tonight, and on behalf of the Center for Human Services, I'd like to welcome you to the 2014 Children's First Distinguished Leadership Award. This year, we honor Chuck and Christy O'Brien, so it's truly a privilege to serve as your MC. Tonight's event is presented by the Center for Human Services, a local nonprofit that opened in 1970 that serves thousands of youth and families in our communities each year. Their mission is to change lives and build futures through programs that strengthen and support youth and families. Please help me welcome the Executive Director of the Center for Human Services, Cindy Duanes.
In front of you, and I wish you could see what I see because you all look fabulous. And I look forward to this award every year. We've been doing it since 1999, if you can believe that it's been that long. And we moved it to the Gallo Center about 3 years ago. I think this is our third year. And every year, one of the things I look forward to most is getting to know the family a little bit better. Sometimes we honor people that I already know. And this year, in honoring Chuck and Christy, I didn't know them before this event. And I want to tell you that I totally understand why you're all here, because they are two very special people, two very giving people. And it's been my pleasure to get to meet them a little bit. They took the time to go on a tour and learn more about our organization. They came to one of our donor appreciation events and heard a little bit more about Hutton House, one of our programs that we're going to tell you about a little bit tonight. And they really do have a heart and a giving heart and a heart for people. So I know why you're all here. As Dave thanked you, I also want to thank you on behalf of our organization, because your presence here not only honors them, but it does support the many programs we provide in the community. So it's my job to tell you a little bit about the Children First Award. As I said, we started it in '99, and it was in order to recognize individuals, couples, or families in the community who support programs and services for children and families at extraordinary levels. And I think you all agree that that's why we're here tonight, to honor Chuck and Christy. So when we started this award, we also wanted to draw attention to the condition of children in Stanislaus County. And I don't think you have to look very far to know that we still have a lot of work today to make our community a healthy place for all children. And I wanted to share a couple of statistics with you just to kind of bring that home. Did you know that in Stanislaus County, we have 144,260 children? That's about 27% of our population is 0 to 18. And of that, 42% of our children are living in homes without secure parental employment. 28% of our children are living in poverty, and 31% of our children are in food insecure homes, and 65% of them are eligible for free and reduced lunches. 80% of our children graduate from high school, which means there's 20% who aren't. And so that's the part that we really need to continue to work on. So this is just a small sampling, and I don't want to put a damper on our evening, but that's what we do each and every day. Our work is to strengthen and support youth and families. And we cannot do it alone. We do it with the support of our community, people like Chuck and Christy and all of you who came out today to celebrate and honor them. So I want to thank you for that. At this time, I also want to thank those of you who made this evening possible, our sponsors and our honorary chairs. So I'm going to identify all of our corporate sponsors, and I'd ask you to wait, and we'll applaud for them all at once. So join me in recognizing our underrating sponsors tonight, which are Prime Shine Car Wash and E&J Gallo Family Winery. Our trustee sponsors, Parks Printing. Our benefactor sponsors, Doctors Medical Center, G3, JBP Enterprises, Oak Valley Community Bank, and the Modesto Bee. Our patron sponsors, Bronco Winery, California State University Stanislaus, TDR Incorporated. Our venue sponsors, American Chevrolet, Atherton and Associates, Delta Sierra Beverage, Farmers and Merchants Bank, Grimbleby Coleman CPAs, JS West, Mid-Valley Packaging and Supply Company, Moxie, OK Produce, Pacific Southwest Container, Panelized Structures Incorporated, Portico, and Sutter Gould Memorial Foundation and Memorial Medical Center. Please join me in giving our sponsors a round of applause. I also ask that you please remember these businesses with your patronage. We're so thankful that they actively support our children and families. At this time, I'd also like to call attention to another special group, our honorary chairs. These are people who are personally connected to Chuck and Christy O'Brien as close friends and family, or they are people who have been longtime supporters of Center for Human Services, or maybe they're even both. Please stand as I call your name and remain standing as I call out all the names. There are 23 names, so please hold your applause till the end. And I think the house lights are supposed to go up so we can see. Brad and Lisa Artis, Eric and Carol Benson, Tom and Loretta Berryhill, Carol and Carl Boyette, Greg and Carla Ciccarelli, Rod DeHart, Ron and Janice Immersion, the Cardoza family, the Carroll family, the Lyons family, Lou and Kenny Friedman, Diane Gagos, Clive and Jean Marie Grimbleby, Brian and Donna Hook, Randall and Rosalie Jolly, Dennis and Libby Lanigan, Fran and Pam O'Brien, Francis O'Brien, Mike and Maria O'Brien. We have some O'Briens here tonight. Just a few. Don and Tina Phillips, John and Bonnie Phillips, Butch and Sue Perrone, Evan Porges and Leah Schmidt, Norm and Marilyn Porges, and Phil and Teresa Schmidt. Please join me in thanking all of our honorary chairs. I'd also like to recognize our past Children First recipients. We have some of you in the audience tonight, so please stand as I call your name. The Lyons family, Diane Gagos, Elsie Martin, the Halverson family, Ron and Janice Immersion, Lou and Kenny Friedman, Norm Porges, the Bruno family, and Carl and Carol Boyette. Tonight, Chuck and Christy will join this group. So let's give them a round. I'm very proud and honored to thank our board of directors and our board of trustees. We're honored at the center to have two boards that work very hard for us every day, and without their support, we could not do our work. So if you're a Center for Human Services board member, will you please stand up so we can all give you a big round of applause? Come on, I know you're out there. All right, I'm done, so thank you and enjoy your evening.
Thanks, Cindy. You know, Cindy's quite an amazing lady. I've known her for quite a few years. Our kids played Little League together, and she does an incredible job of keeping the center moving. We also have another lady that helps keep the Center for Human Services mission in the forefront of our community. Please welcome Kate Trumpeter, Director of Marketing and Relations for the Center for Human Services.
Good evening, everybody. In 1970, a group of community volunteers opened Headrest. It was a fully functional drop-in center for young people who were struggling with drug and alcohol abuse and in need of counseling, education, or emergency shelter. As two of Headrest's early directors said, "We are here to serve the community youngsters who are tragically in need of help." 44 years later, although our name may have changed, the core of Center for Human Services mission remains the same: to change lives and build futures through programs that strengthen and support youth and families. We are a local nonprofit, and each of our nearly 200 employees are committed to meeting the needs of our community through our various programs and services. At Center for Human Services, we have a philosophy about how people change and grow and what people need for well-being. We believe that people need a safe environment and the capacity to protect and support their families. We believe that relationships create the foundation for well-being, and people are healthiest when they have positive connections with others. We also believe that healthy communities create opportunities for people to connect with one another, access their natural systems of support, and act together to improve their lives. These beliefs about what people need for well-being guide our work. Throughout Stanislaus County, Center for Human Services is offering concrete support in times of need to people and families who are struggling. We're providing people with opportunities to build new skills, and we're offering activities that foster healthy social connections with others. So some examples of how these beliefs can be seen come to life. You might see it at our family resource centers, where an individual or a family might, for example, attend a nutrition class, and then because they attended that class, they get to leave with a bag of groceries they can take home for their families. You might also see these beliefs come to life in a young man who attends one of our drug and alcohol treatment programs, and he learns new ways to cope so that he doesn't continue to turn back to his addiction. It can also be seen in a family who comes to take advantage of some of our mental health counseling services, where they learn the skills that they need to better communicate and support one another. And finally, our beliefs about what people need to change and grow can also be seen at our shelters, like Pathways, our shelter for young people who are experiencing homelessness. Here, a young adult can build the life skills that they need to live productive, independent lives and likely get some of the love and support that they've missed growing up. Tonight, we're going to highlight for you our other shelter, Hutton House, a temporary shelter for youth between 13 and 17 who are experiencing a crisis. It's our hope that by highlighting this program, that you might walk away with a deeper understanding of the impact that Center for Human Services is able to have in the world because of generous people like you. So before we watch this brief video, I'd like to also thank you for being here tonight, for supporting Center for Human Services and Chuck and Christy O'Brien. I'm with my marketing hat on for just a second. If the feeling is, we would like to keep in touch with you. If the feeling's mutual, there's an interest card in your program, and we've also entered the world of mobile marketing, so you can also text 72727, which is also in your program. You don't have to remember it, because I'm sure all of you are going to do it later. You can text that number to, you can text CHS to that number. So finally, know that your time and contribution is going to go to help more young people and families in our community, like the ones that you're going to meet in this video we're going to watch about Hutton House. And know that we truly couldn't accomplish our mission without you.
My role model was, gangsters and drug dealers.
A
constant runaway. I didn't go to school very much.
My life was set that I was gonna do bad because I don't have another option. That's just what's gonna happen, and I learned to accept it.
I didn't feel connected to anybody, and I always felt alone, and that's why I was constantly on the run looking for something.
Hutton House is a short-term crisis intervention program for runaways, homeless, throw-out youth in crisis. We house kids that are between the ages of 13 to 17, and Hutton House's main goal is to provide safety and security to kids and hopefully to get them back home in situations where it's very appropriate. Last year, 2,500 reported runaways. There's a lot of kids out there that need help and support.
One day, I got out of hand, I was screaming, I was yelling.
I was brought here actually for the first time by Modesto Police Department.
It's kind of like an emergency room. Kids come in, families come in crisis, they need some help and support. We kind of brush them off, kind of assess what some of their needs are. We have parenting classes, we have support groups, we have a crisis line that answers 24 hours a day. We have what we call drop-in crisis counseling appointments, so a person can see a counselor a day if they need to. We have a youth development program and a parenting class we love called Parents and Teens Together, where the kids and the parents get to come for 10 weeks and experience some healthy life skills for families.
For the most part, when you go to institutions like this, they kind of judge you, or you're here for a reason. But when I came here, it was totally the opposite. They treat you well.
I always felt comfortable here. They knew what I was going through. I actually felt connected to somebody, a part of something.
Hutton House came into operation in '76. There was a man named Al Hutton who worked for the center, and it was named after him and has been running every day since that date. We're the only program between Sacramento and Fresno that provides this kind of service. We keep 8 kids at a time. So last year we housed 291 kids and saw another 500 kids for day services.
It also gave me resources to not become a teenage mother, get hooked on drugs.
Straight out of high school, I decided to go to college. I started working.
More than anything, as a teenager, this place helped me.
I owe really everything that I become to Hutton House.
That's always so extremely rewarding. It just touches your heart when you're able to help kids and families.
I ended up coming back as a volunteer in 2008.
I'm also volunteering in community service groups such as CYC.
We have needs for volunteers, simple basic things like toothbrushes and pajamas. You gotta have street clothes, but you don't have to have pajamas or slippers. We spend about $1,000 a month just on food, and so there's always great need in that area because a lot of our families are desperate and need immediate things, and so we have a small crisis fund.
I applied for the per diem shelter staff position, and so coming here as an employee, it really made me feel like I could make a difference because I knew what most of these kids go through.
I just want to add that people are in crisis and they don't know where to go, they can call Hutton House. If we're not the right place for them, we'll certainly refer them to the correct place, and there's always somebody here with an open heart ready to listen to whatever their story is and to help to give them some guidance and direction.
If you don't get anything other than that out of it, just knowing that we're here and that we're always here and we're always open and you can come to the door, and I do believe that this place probably saved my life more than once.
Thanks, Kate and Cindy, both for your comments. You know, it's dedicated people like Kate and Cindy and all the staff of the Center for Human Services that make such a great impact on the children and the families in our community. Let's give the whole staff a big round of applause. So now we get to focus on our 2014 Children First Award recipients, Chuck and Christy O'Brien. And, you know, Chuck loves the spotlight, so you know, he's actually a lot like me, kind of shy and likes to be in the background. But no, this is a great award, and the Children's First Award recognizes those who actively are working to improve the lives of children and families with their leadership, philanthropy, and volunteerism. I've known Chuck and Christy for many years, and I can personally attest that behind the scenes, their support is unbelievable, and they like to be behind the scenes. But I got to tell you, there's so many organizations that they support. Here's a few of them: Community Hospice, Kiwanis, Children's Crisis Center, Health Service Agencies, Society for Disabilities, Blessings in a Backpack, United Samaritans, First Tee, Central Catholic, Center for Human Services, Sober Graduation Programs, Youth Sports Teams, Riverbank Food Drive, and Interfaith Ministry Food Pantry, just to name a few. And at this time, we're going to hear from our own local poet laureate, Gillian Wegener, who has prepared a reading for this evening dedicated to Chuck and Christy. Gillian?
Thank you. It was an honor and a pleasure to be asked to read a poem tonight. This poem is called Leadership, and it was written for Chuck and Christy for this occasion. It takes an idea. It takes a hand, a pair of hands. It takes a voice. It takes a heart. It takes compassion, the listening ear, the observant eye. It takes a hand, a voice for change. It takes fortitude. It takes listening and vision. It takes heart. It takes risk, empathy, deep compassion. It takes an open mind, an open heart. It takes love. It takes will. It takes one hand, a pair of hands, bringing many hands together. It takes thought and it takes vision, seeing how we can move forward, how we can grow stronger together. It takes strength, the will to persevere. It takes passion, a yearning, a knowing life can be better. It takes an idea, an internal fire, small at first glowing. It takes letting that fire grow. It takes growing and giving and sharing the warmth and light with us all. And I'm really honored that the Center for Human Services saw fit to print the poem right over there, and they're going to present that as a gift to the O'Brien family. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gillian, for those words of inspiration. We've got it on display, the poem that she wrote, and that's going to be a great keepsake. Okay, now we've got live from Las Vegas, Phil Schmidt's going to come. No, he's not from Las Vegas. And Phil and I talked about his remarks, I don't know, a month or so ago, and you know, he was a little nervous about that. I don't understand, because he's always got a quick wit. And Phil's married to Teresa, Chuck's sister, and he's going to share some family stories with us. Phil?
I apologize for any glare that might be hitting you guys. Tried to get them to turn the lights down for me, but they wouldn't. So if you have to put on your sunglasses, I certainly understand. You know, it's a real privilege for me to be up here tonight, and I'll tell you why. That man right there was my best man at my wedding, September 4th, 1976. And we've been great friends ever since. I'm going to get emotional. I'm sorry. I can't help it. This is a tough assignment for me. You know, when I first got to meet the O'Brien family, it was a real challenge, because there's 14 kids living in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in the heart of the college area. And I'd go, "Hi, I'm Phil." And somebody would say, "Hi, I'm Jim," but it was really Fran. Or "I'm John," and it was really Joe. And so it took me about 2 years after we got married to finally realize who the brothers and sisters were. But now I do, and I got to tell you what, I've never met a family like this in my life. I grew up as pretty much not an only child, but you know, I had a little brother and an older sister. But when I met this family, I was so impressed by their hard work, their ethic. Can you imagine growing up in a home like that, where the older kids are responsible for taking care of their little siblings? It was amazing. And so growing up for them, hard work was just a way of life. The discipline that they had, not only in the hard work that they did, but the athletics that they performed in, and everything they did was so well orchestrated, and they really set an example in their community and their local schools, and it was incredible. And I congratulate them all for this award, because I understand how all of you work and how much all of you give, and it was the way you were raised by your two wonderful parents. So let me tell you about Chuck. One day I got a call from Steve Angelo. It was like in 1977, I think, and he was getting ready to sell his grocery store. Steve was a grocer that opened his Ardmore grocery store across the street from Roosevelt Junior High in 1959, soon after his father died. And, he gave me a call and he says, Phil, I'm going to be closing my Ardmore store, but I don't want to abandon the neighborhood because I have so many loyal customers. And he goes, I'd really like Chuck O'Brien to buy it. Chuck was my hardest worker ever. Chuck worked for O'Brien's for 10 years before he moved on to Rayleigh's for a couple years when this call came in. And I said, boy, how in the world are we going to be able to pull this off? So I called Chuck up and I said, Chuck, I just got a call from Steve Angelo. He wants you to buy his Ardmore store. And I'll paraphrase, but it was like, how the heck in the world can I pull this off? And I said, well, let me tell you. Steve Angelo has so much respect for you and how hard you work. He's willing to do whatever it takes to make this happen for you. And what Steve told me is he would be happy to carry the financing. He would work close with Ray Ferrucci, as many of you know, and help him carry the inventory. His dad refinanced their family home, created some cash. Chuck had several rentals, and here at 28 years old with 4 kids, with a grocery store clerk's salary, managed to pull off one of the greatest coups I've ever seen. And I'll tell you what, he's never stopped working hard, ever. It's unbelievable. Every morning, if you want to see Chuck, go to O'Brien's Market on Dale Road. He's got the big, huge truck. He's loading it up, and he's moving inventory from store to store to store to this day. He works hard. And he's earned and deserved the respect of not only all of you, but his family. And we're all very, very proud of you, Chuck. Very proud of you. And I could tell so many stories about growing up O'Brien. That's what I was going to entitle my speech, Growing Up O'Brien. And incomprehensible. And I'm sure you've heard stories from different family members, but it was quite a challenge. But you know what? I remember that big picnic table in their breakfast nook. It was huge, where they all sat around every night for dinner and discussed the events of the day. Mr. O'Brien, who's here tonight, was a school teacher. He raised 14 kids. He taught them the discipline of hard work. And if they wanted something, they had to go out and earn it. Whether it was mow a lawn, deliver a newspaper, babysit, they went out and earned everything they acquired. So, having said that, I will move on and fast forward to 1996. Because this is, in my opinion, what really changed Chuck O'Brien's world. And this is going to be hard for me. His brother John and John's wife Debbie and Carrie Kavigian, who's here tonight from Fresno, invited Chuck to dinner in Fresno to meet Christy Hines. So we asked Chuck the other night, we're having dinner Tuesday night, and my wife Teresa says, were you nervous? He goes, no, I wasn't nervous. So they went and had a great dinner, and that was in May of 1996. And they started dating, had a very, very good relationship going, and you could see how his world was changing, and he was happy and smiling, and he wasn't as grumpy. You know? And we were all kind of saying, we need to meet this girl. So, and if you're in the O'Brien family and you're not an O'Brien, you're an outlaw. And we're outnumbered. Okay? So once I met Christy, I fell in love. Not literally, but definitely one of my favorite outlaws. I've got a lot of great outlaws and got a lot of great in-laws. But so anyway, they had their first date. Chuck drove home from Fresno. Things changed. And then in December of 1997, Chuck proposed, and we went, yeah. All the outlaws were going, yeah, this is good stuff. This is really good stuff. And then they got married at August 8th, 1998, right, Christy? Yeah, and it was a great wedding at Del Rio. And since then, Chuck and Christy's whole dynamic have changed. Chuck told me he met his soulmate. Chuck would come home from work years ago before he ever met Christy, after working, sleeping, eating, supporting his kids, who were his number one priority, always, still are, so are his grandkids. And he met his soulmate. And Christy got him out of that house, got him involved in the community, got him doing a lot more things that he'd never done before. It's hard to keep up with her. I mean, if you guys know Christy, she's hard to keep up with. And then Christy joined the Nine Holders and formed a whole new group of friends, and I know a lot of you are here tonight. And Chuck, as a side benefit, got to get out and meet a lot of friends, close friends that are here tonight. Norm, the Phillips, the Boyettes. And, today I'm on the treadmill with Carl, and we're walking. He goes, what are you going to say tonight? He goes, you got 5 minutes. And I said, I'm going to take it. So I said what I said to Carl. He goes, that's great. Well, Carl's probably going, you didn't say any of this morning. So all this speech that I wrote, I could literally toss it. But let me tell you about Christy's family. Let me tell you more. You got 14 kids, right? You have a mother, Anna O'Brien, who was the oldest of 10 children. All about taking care of children. Then you have Christy's mom, who was the youngest of 12 children. Okay, so this was supposed to happen, I think. Christy's mom ran a daycare in Fresno. She was known as Aunt Sandy, 40 kids at a time. She opened the teen center at St. Helen's Catholic Church, all about kids. So, Chuck and Christy, I'm so proud to be up here and share just a few personal stories. I wasn't going to tell any bad stories, although there are a few. We can talk about that later. But your family is proud of you for all of your accomplishments, all you do for Modesto. In my job, the first thing I ask new people when they come here, have you Googled Modesto? And they go, yeah, it's not that nice. They're wrong. It's a great place. And it's people because of all of you and all the people like Chuck and Christy, the Boyettes, and all the other honorees that are here. Long list. And it's a great place. And Chuck and Christy, congratulations for this great award. We are now going to watch the tribute video.
My mother went to work when she was 13 in the mill, worked till she was 81. That was the ethic. You worked.
Mr. O'Brien taught at Punahou High School in Honolulu.
We came to California in 1954 with 7 kids, a dog, and $100.
And the O'Brien clan grew from there. And just a small house with 14 kids. I couldn't imagine growing up in that house, but they did it.
And who are these people?
Oh, you got me. There's Mary, Barbara, Charles, Michael, Richard, Colleen, Teresa, Patty, Joey, Tommy, Jimmy, Fran, and Joanne, and Jennifer, all in there. Yeah, I think at that time they probably had wood floors. And they had a little throw rug, this is way before I was probably able to get around. Chuck being the oldest, he had to develop a lot of things young.
Charles was almost like a right-hand man. I had a saw, a hammer, a square, a level, an 11-year-old kid to help me.
When he went out and worked in the peach orchards and made money, 10% went in savings and 10% went to charity. And I think the parents instilled a really good ethic with him in terms of not only preparing for his financial future, but in giving back to the community.
My grandfather was one who was a school teacher. But at night, he ran a graveyard shift at a cannery.
And she never complained about the fact that she was alone 15 years at night for just the kids. I mean, that's a tough woman. Boy, she something else.
the rock of the whole family. You never see them fight, you never see them argue. It's always, everything was sort of in order. We all had our jobs to do, and you had to do them, and that's just what we did.
You had to learn to juggle work, school, and your athletics. And so that is something I think we did well.
We grew up wrestling together, playing football together.
He was so, muscle bound back when he was playing football that they called him Herc for Hercules. So in high school and a little bit in college, his nickname was Herc. All of his brothers and sisters were calling him Herc.
His previous employment was with Angelo's, and he worked as much overtime as he could to support his family. And at night he would officiate wrestling matches for extra money, never with the ambition of acquiring a grocery store, but the opportunity knocked one day when I got a call from Paul Zagaris. Steve Angelo wanted to sell his grocery store specifically to Chuck O'Brien.
Charles formed a corporation. He was president. His mother was vice president. I was secretary. They put me in my spot.
I can recall the letters he received from the neighbors saying, "You'll never beat Angelo's."
Where you're the underdog, so to speak, there's an awful lot to do to stay competitive, and you have to be involved in the community, and you have to love what you're doing and try to make it different and set it apart from all the other businesses and do something special. And I think they've done a great job with that.
Being one of the oldest in the family, he felt responsibility to take care of all of his siblings. Through that responsibility, he's done the same thing for all of his employees.
And it's not just doing the paperwork, it's driving the truck, making sure all the stores are ready for business. Then he'll go to Riverbank and work like an 18-year-old. Not an 18-year-old today, but an 18-year-old of 50 years ago.
Both of them separately, my mom and Chuck. My mom worked hard before she knew Chuck, that's for sure.
Well, my grandparents were very generous people. They had a daycare center out of their home. So at a very early age, my mother was taught like helping out and responsibility and generosity and sharing with other kids. And there was, usually 10 to 12 kids every single day when she'd come home for school type of thing. So she learned how to not be jealous at a young age. My sister and her were alone for about 5-6 years. She worked full time, probably more than provided for us. She spoiled us.
My mom is loving and loud at times, in a good way. And she's just helpful and on top of things. I would describe her as probably the most organized person that I know.
She's very driven too. She gets a lot done, but I think she kind of accepts life and goes with it, finds the good in everything.
We set Chuck up on a date. It was a blind date, and we're all sitting there. All of a sudden, it's just very quiet. And then he asked for a second date in front of everybody as it's so quiet. It was just like, we're like, oh my goodness. So, and then they kind of blossomed from there, and they continued, and I think maybe a couple years later, they were married. Christy came into the picture, it softened him up a little bit, got him to do more exploring in the community and outside of work.
You could just see him come alive, she brings out the best in him.
It's opened up new worlds for both of them. The relationship has let both of them grow.
A handsome couple, a loving couple, and a family-oriented couple.
Chuck raised me like his own. I grew up without a dad. And so he was able to walk me down the aisle, it was really special. I didn't know if I would ever have that when I was growing up, so it was pretty cool, yeah.
If they could write a book on how to blend a family, two families become one, they should.
You can have hers and his and theirs and ours, but both my dad and Christy, they love all 6 of us as if we were their natural born children.
There were several grandkids at the time that they got married, and she has been their grandma and just walked right into that role, never skipped a beat.
And he has given to many of my siblings, and he's always said to them, you don't need to pay me back. What I want you to do is do something for somebody else. That's payment.
And how that extends out to our sibling families, and then as it extends out to the community?
There were some former employees that are now teachers, lawyers. My first job came from Chuck. A police officer said that. He goes, Chuck knew I was in trouble, but he gave me a job anyway. And so he turned his life around.
The joy and care that they've given to others, I hope comes back to them. And I think it does. I think it's good to pay things forward.
We get some of our food from food banks or from some of the larger stores. We pick it up. But with O'Brien's, 2 to 3 times a week, we have part of the O'Brien family that delivers to us.
Make Dreams Real golf tournament, catering that. And so they do an awful lot.
A lot of youth-oriented activities.
He knows how, and Christy as well, knows how to work different vendors in the grocery business that can add support to something that he would do.
And so the golf tournament that he took over out in Oakdale for HSA really turned into an amazing golf tournament. It turned into something that raised, 2 or 3 times as much as it usually had raised. It was because he took it personally. It was because he wanted to make sure that it was successful.
Children's Crisis Center, Center for Human Services,
Humane Society as well, Sober Grad Night.
He helped start the soccer leagues.
I mean, he started the community hospice run.
I'm involved with the Society for Handicapped Children and Adults, and some of our programs, brand new programs, weren't going anywhere. Chuck and Christy stepped up and helped us get them going.
Chuck's response is, tell me when that's done because I want to be the first person to contribute. As a result of that foundation, we were able to take Brian to Poland 2 times for 1 month of physical therapy, which greatly enhanced his recovery. And I assume there are more stories out there that I don't know about that Chuck has done the same thing for other people.
There's so many things that they do that are totally unheard of, under the radar.
Without looking for any recognition, just they do it because they're passionate about our community. They love this community.
I see the list that he does every year, and it's just amazing. And his philosophy is everything that he donates, he gets back tenfold. So he likes to invest in charity work, and he bets his success on the fact of how involved he is in the community.
There are 2 people that aren't going to slow down or stop too much, no matter what they do. And they may take on different roles and different projects, but they're going to be here hopefully a long time and help guide others to maybe follow their good examples.
Wow, that was quite the video. Thanks to all the family and friends that helped make that video. And how about Phil? He was awesome. I tell you though, we were talking a little bit as he walked off the stage, and I'm like, Christy's mom had 12 and the O'Briens had 14. I always thought of us as a pretty good Catholic family, but there was only 6 of us. I'm not too sure my parents took that begatting very seriously. I'm going to have a little talk with them. I mean, that's a little rough when we thought we were big. But anyways, now it's time for our award presentation. To get us started, I'd like to invite Stanislaus County Supervisor Bill O'Brien to the stage.
One of the benefits of being a county supervisor is going out and giving proclamations, resolutions, awards to different community members throughout the community, because you get to see all the good things that happen. As Uncle Phil says, sometimes we concentrate too much on the bad stuff in our community, but there's so much good that happens out there. Tonight's got to be one of the biggest honors in my political career, of being able to present a resolution to my own parents. And I'll just tell you about Chuck and Christy, and because I know them both very well. And the thought process of what they go through when they decide who or what to donate and contribute to. And it's never about recognition, never about what tonight is. which just shows why they deserve this. I know they're going to stand up here and say they don't deserve this, but they do. And so, a Board of Supervisors, a Stanislaus County resolution. And we usually don't read these, but tonight I'm going to. It's got a bunch of government lingo, so just bear with me. Whereas, Center for Human Services created the Children's First Award in 2000 to honor people in our community who support services for children and families in Stanislaus County at an extraordinary levels. Whereas the Center for Human Services will honor Chuck and Christy O'Brien with their Children First Distinguished Leadership Award 2014 at the Children's First reception on April 17, 2014 at the Gallo Center for the Arts. Whereas Chuck O'Brien was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, he has 13 siblings and is the eldest son. The family moved to California in 1954 when his dad took a teaching job in Oakdale. Whereas Chuck learned the grocery business from working for various local grocers and opened his first O'Brien's Market in 1978. He was named the 1990 Stanislaus County Grocer of the Year and currently has 3 markets with over 200 employees. Whereas Christy O'Brien was born and raised in Fresno, California, where she helped with her mom's in-home daycare and babysat and entertained up to 12 children at a time. Her favorite saying is, "Don't walk ahead of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Walk beside me and just be my friend." Whereas Christy and Chuck were married in August of 1998, creating a new family with their 6 children. Christy's children, Katie and Keith. Chuck's children, Terry, Tim, Bill, and Bridget. Chuck and Christy are generous community members who willingly lend their time and treasures and talents to many organizations in our county. Chuck has been active in community hospice, Kiwanis, Children's Crisis Center, Health Services Agency, Society for Handicapped Children and Adults, Blessings in a Backpack, and United Samaritans. Whereas Christy actively supports First Tee, Children's Crisis Center, Central Catholic, Hospice Fantasy of Trees, and even finds time to volunteer in her daughter's classroom each week. Whereas Chuck and Christy are looking forward to a healthy, long life together and spending time with their grandchildren. Now, therefore, be resolved, the Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors does hereby congratulate Chuck and Christy O'Brien on their innovative leadership, philanthropy, and volunteerism, which exemplify the qualities of the Children's First Distinguished Leadership Award. Signed by the 5 county supervisors of Stanislaus County. Dad and Christy. Dad and Christy, congratulations on a well-deserved award.
Whereas, it doesn't get any better than sharing something like that with one of your kids. We also have a California legislative proclamation that's signed by, let's see here, we've got Anthony Cannella signed it, Tom Berryhill, Assemblyman Kristen Olson, and Assemblyman Adam Gray all signed the California State Legislation proclamation. And now, for the important part, our award. We have this beautifully engraved Simon Pierce vase to commemorate the Children's First Award, and it's beautiful. And right now, I'd like to welcome our underwriting sponsors, representing Gallo Family Winery, Pat Dodd, and representing Prime Shine Car Wash, Norm Borges.
Good evening, everyone. In my line of work, I get an opportunity to speak in front of audiences large and small on a regular basis, but I have to tell you, tonight was one of the most intimidating invitations I've received in a long time. Largely because after nearly 30 years in the Modesto community, I had never met these 2 individuals. So Cindy, what a relief it was for you to tell me that I'm not the only one in the room with that happening tonight. But I did have an opportunity to shake hands earlier this evening, and as I thought about this a little bit more, I realized that actually for the last 30 years, I actually have been getting to know Chuck and Christy quite a lot. In fact, maybe too much. My wife will kill me for this, but on the Foursquare app, I am the mayor of the O'Brien's Roseburg Square. So I've been getting to know you for 30 years. You've been getting to know my family's grocery budget for 30 years. And what I've learned during that time, not having met you personally, I learned a great deal about the O'Brien's family. Two reasons for that. Number one, you don't have people who provide customer service. You have customer servants. You have people who truly are the stewards of your business. And that doesn't come just because you hire good people. That becomes because you lead in a stewardship manner. And that permeates the entire organization. The second reason is, as a businessman, I can appreciate that many times over the past 30 years, there were a lot of very good reasons to pull up your stakes at Roseburg Square and move your business someplace else. And you didn't do that. And for that reason, the college area has a truly world-class grocery store that's within walking distance of hundreds of homes. And I thank you for that personally. And with that, officially, on behalf of the over 4,000 members of the E&J Gallo Winery family, congratulations on this award this evening, both of you.
Whereas, and therefore, Brownshine has been proud to have be the key sponsor of this event for some 8 years, almost the very beginning. That doesn't give me any more pleasure. And we've had some great honorees. But today is very special. Marilyn and I have a very special friend here in the audience. We now learned all about. I learned a lot about it, and I can't wait to rag him. Hulk, what was it? Her. Can't wait. So, without further ado, I want to invite up to the stage so that all you can show your recognition and appreciation for these wonderful things that they do in the community, Chuck and Christy O'Brien.
My speech is really small. Chuck has a lot to say. I can't wait to let him talk first. First of all, I have to make one correction, Phil. It's the 18-hole ladies, not the 9-holers. I skipped the 9-holers, I don't know why. Anyway, I want to thank Cindy, Monica, Brittany and Kate, everybody at the Center for Human Services. They are an asset to this community. They have worked so hard to put this event in order for months, and please, a round for all of them. When I look out here and I see all of you here, love and gratitude to everybody that's here. Our beautiful family, we are so fortunate. Amazing friends, business associates, longtime employees, and the community members that come year after year to support these wonderful organizations over and over and over. I'm proud of all of you, but most of all, I'm proud to be standing next to him. The man who changed my life 16 years ago when he asked me to be his wife and moved to Modesto. Fresno, Modesto, kind of the same. His dedication to his family, to my family, his business, and this community makes me proud every day. We are truly blessed, and I love you, and I thank you all for being here.
Thank you. As Phil would say, Christy and I are overwhelmed and honored to receive this award tonight, and we know that there's several other people in this community that deserve it so much more than we do. I just had to say that because he said I would. When you look, take a look at the list of the previous award winners. They're all personal heroes of Christy and I because of what they've done in this community. And we're honored to be added to that list. And it is uncomfortable for us because this is what we were taught to do at a very early age. Christy and I are both children of passionate and compassionate parents. Both sets of parents grew up in the Depression. Both fathers served in World War II. Christy's dad was passionate about his family, his yard, and his beloved Dodgers. That's how I feel too. Christy's mom just loved taking care of her 3 children, as well as hundreds of children in her daycare center in their home for over 35 years. She gave them love and provided structure. Many times, she provided a place to stay for a single mother or father that had nowhere else to go. And if the truth were known, there were several times when she never even charged for that daycare. We lost Christy's dad in 2001 and her mom in 2007. But still today, we get in the mail donation requests from her father's favorite charities. Christy's sister Kay and her nephew Jace are here today. Would you stand up, please? Passion and compassion was the theme in our home. Dad was a World War II Marine, twice wounded, and decorated with a Bronze Star, and I'm paraphrasing the citation, for rescuing 2 downed Marines, carrying them to safety on his back through 200 yards of machine gun fire and mortar fire. Will you please honor one of America's heroes and my dad, Francis O'Brien? And forgive me for this, Dad, but his passion carried on in his marriage to our mother, which helped explain 14 children. And you heard how Dad worked several different jobs, but his real passion was teaching. And I know that there are several of his former students here tonight, and I run into some of them from time to time, and they all say that he was their favorite teacher. And the reason was because his passion was to get them to think for themselves and not just listen to what's being told. In my mom's declining years, he took care of her every need with such compassion. And we lost Mom in 2003. Being in a household of 14 children, we didn't always have what we wanted, but we always had what we needed. We learned early how to cooperate, especially with chores around the house, and using the one bathroom we had for 16 people. We all played sports, girls swimming, boys football, wrestling, baseball, and whatever it was, our parents were always there to cheer us on. We learned to work hard. 14 children, all 14 children picked peaches in the orchards, which is unheard of work today. Some of us picked tomatoes, onions, pitched watermelons. We collected soda bottles on the side of the road. Several of us had paper routes, babysat, raked leaves, mowed lawns, whatever it took. Hard work never hurt any of us. We were also taught at a very young age that there was always someone else in need, and there was always something we could do about it. Whatever money we earned, we were made to see the benefit of giving away 10% to the church or to charity. Today, all of my siblings have been involved in working with nonprofits, many organizations, the Bass Association with their Kids Catch a Smile Day for physically handicapped kids, Special Olympics, a volunteer wrestling coach, the Society for Handicap with my brother Richard, spay-neuter clinics, my brother Mike, teaching young vets from UC Davis how to handle a cat or a dog in certain situations. And I want you to know that these same traits have been passed on to the next generation, and I'll just give you a few examples. What would you think of a 5-year-old having his birthday party in December? All toys had to be delivered unwrapped. And then the Marine Corps shows up for their Toys for Tots program, and that's where all the toys go. They're involved in their churches, collecting jackets, sundries, clothes for the homeless. They're involved in Dan Costa's Thanksgiving Day dinner. They mentor their classmates. I have one niece who, for a senior project, wanted to redo a room in the Pathways organization. When she and her mother went to see the condition of some of the rooms and the furniture and stuff that they had, Pam says, "Nah, we're going to do it all." They put together a group of ladies and their children to redo every one of the rooms in the Pathways. So as you can see, the traits that we grew up learning are being passed on to the next generation. Our 6 children and 11 of our 13 grandkids were here today. 3 of them have gone home early because they're young. And we're so proud of every one of them. We would like to introduce them to you now. Terry Fisher and her husband, Eric. Their 4 boys, Cameron, Ian, Seth, and Jack. Terry's a school teacher at Fremont, and Eric coaches water polo at MJC. Tim, his wife Lisa, and their 4 children, Brady, Brendan, Logan, and Ashley. Did Brendan make it? Will you please stand up? Tim and Lisa run a RT Productions, which is a video and photography company traveling all over the country. They sometimes have events going on in several different cities all at one time. Bill and his wife Alicia, their son Alex is away at college at WPI, and their daughter Samantha is on a field trip. Bill is the general manager of O'Brien's Market in my rock, in addition to all the duties he does as supervisor. By the way, do you guys get paid for the amount of words? So Bridget Heartless and her husband Joey, and their 3 kids have already gone home tonight, but that's Brian, Ellie, and Declan. Bridget does bookkeeping. Does bookkeeping from home as she takes care of her young kids. And Joey is the purchasing manager at Gunnert Steel. Keith Hines, who works in the Roseburg store meat department and also drives a truck picking up our grocery loads. Katie Long and her husband Jacob. Oh, and by the way, yeah, happy birthday, Jacob. Katie is a teacher at Woodrow Elementary, and by the way, all 4 of my kids went to Woodrow back in the day. And Jacob is a substitute teacher finishing his education and also gives baseball lessons. All of our kids have worked hard from a very young age and know the value of education, hard work, and what it sometimes takes to make a success. And we couldn't be any more proud than we are today. Thank you. It's not always easy to blend families, but I think they could write the book on what we've done. When you look at it, I love Christy's kids as much as my own, and she the same. All the grandkids, unfortunately, love her more than they love me, but that's okay. And now, O'Brien's Market would not exist if it wasn't for our staff. They work hard and are pleased that some of them are here tonight. Would you please stand, and if you're an O'Brien employee, and Linda, I want you to stand too, please. Now remain standing if you've worked for O'Brien's for more than 5 years. How about 10 years? How about 15 years? How about 20? How about 25? How about 30? These people are the backbone of O'Brien's and the reason for our success. And they all do amazing things too. They put on dinners to benefit a family in need. They're involved in the Adopted Grandparent Program, which is taking Christmas presents to shut-in old folks in a home. A Christmas wish list tree for the Riverbank foster kids. And to tell you how amazing this is, 2 years ago, one of our customers saw all the names on that tree, got together with his kids, his friends, and their kids, and brought in 50 bicycles so that each one of those kids could have a new bike for Christmas. Which brings me to thanking our loyal customers for well over 35 years for everything that we've asked you to join us with, including Relay for Life, City of Hope, Muscular Dystrophy, Interfaith Ministries. And by the way, our vendors and business partners have been very generous too, from sponsorships, supporting our golf tournaments, donating, special pricing for our food banks, and services and products for charity fundraising dinners. Several of them are here tonight, and we thank you. We're blessed with some truly amazing friends. Friends that want to know what we're involved in and the first one to sign the check. We're so happy that many of them are here tonight. Your support means so much to both of us. Thank you for being here and for enriching our lives on a daily basis. Finally, the woman who changed my life. We think so much alike. We finish each other's sentences and enjoy so many things together in life. She's gotten me to relax a little and to smell the roses. And life is a lot more exciting since she said yes 16 years ago. So as you can see, it's not just me and it's not just us, but it's the O'Brien family, siblings, nieces and nephews, employees, customers, vendors. And we thank you all for making this evening what it is. So here's a little thing that might be a little touchy for me. The last act of passion that our mother did was to dictate to our father 14 separate letters, one for each of us. In that letter, she told us how much she loved us, gave us a few inspiring thoughts, and one command. And the command was the same for all of us, and that was to love everyone. And that's why we do what we do. As you saw by the video, just you being here tonight, you're supporting the Center for Human Services. They have so many worthwhile programs going on. And if you want to add a little bit of compassion to your life, put them on your list, because they can sure use the help. But if you really want to add some passion to your life, make an appointment. See what they really do, and you'll be a believer. So thank you.
Killing me. I mean, I want somebody out there to come up and talk right now, because I'm having a little bit of a tough time. You know, you listen to people like that. You want to talk about people that are enriching our community, that makes Modesto something special. It's like that photo where the people in the video made up their faces. Everybody in here, and especially the O'Briens, make Modesto what it is. And I'm really proud to be associated with them in this event. Let's give them one more round of applause. Okay, I think it's almost time for a cocktail. See, I don't drink before these because after two, my lips don't match. And it's okay when I'm doing the auction, but when I gotta read, it's a problem, so. Man, is it hot up here right now. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it has absolutely been an honor to be with you tonight. On behalf of the Center for Human Services, congratulations to Chuck and Christy O'Brien and the O'Brien family, and thank all of you for the good things you do in our community. Congratulations, good night, and God bless. Jeez.